Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about Temptation Island. But first and foremost, thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel, and let's get started. And so it is decision time on Temptation Island, and the decision was broken into two parts, but I'm going to cover all of it in one shot. So Edgar and Jillian face each other at the bonfire, and Mark explains the ground rules. So the rules are as follows. Each person will have an opportunity to speak while the other person listens. And then they'll have an open conversation with each other where they can talk back and forth. And then finally, they will make a decision. And the decision could go one of three ways. Each of them could decide that they want to leave the island together, or leave the island alone, or ultimately leave with the person that they made a connection with while they were on Temptation Island. So Jillian got to speak first, and she told Edgar that she was grateful for him, and he was the one person who really got to know her. And what she's learned on Temptation Island is that she can validate herself. She doesn't need Edgar to validate her, and that if they decide to stay together, that she will definitely be a better partner and more secure. On a sour note, she says she felt disrespected. She didn't like getting the messages that she received from him, the leave me the F alone. She didn't like watching the intimacy between him and Marissa, and she says that he really hurt her. And then Edgar had an opportunity to speak, and Edgar said that he was also grateful for their time together. He apologized for cheating on Jillian, and he said what happened with him and Marissa was not about her. It wasn't about hurting her or making her feel bad. He was following his heart and doing what felt right to him at that moment. And he said he was also hurt by the things that he saw at the bonfires, the ring dismissal, seeing her and Tommy in bed. And he said after being hurt so early on in the process, he decided that he was going to open himself up and be more receptive to Marissa, and that's how they wound up becoming intimate and making a very strong connection. And Jillian, she wanted to know why Edgar couldn't wait until the show was over to do what he did. And she also says that she was not intimate with Tom, so she doesn't understand why he had to disrespect her and embarrass her in that way. And Edgar said, well, he's wondering what she was doing in the shower with Tom, as we were all wondering. So Jillian has this narrative that says, Edgar, you hurt me more than I hurt you because you went to the next level and I didn't. And Edgar said, in a nutshell, we hurt each other. And then it was time to make a decision. And Edgar said he wanted to leave the island alone. Jillian makes the same choice. She decides that she also wants to leave alone. And she did say to Edgar that she hopes that he doesn't hurt people anymore, and that she will try to do the same. And she told him that he's really a good guy. And Jillian did tell Edgar that if he wanted to hug her, he could. So they hugged. So they had a nice hug. And once the hug was over, Edgar did ask Jillian if he could kiss her on the forehead. And she said, no, you may not. And she left. She headed to the car and off of the island. But as she was heading to the car, you could hear her sobbing. And she was really devastated, really upset. And she did say that the conversation that they had at the bonfire sort of reaffirms everything for her. So in other words, she feels that she made the best decision for herself. And then we have Mark and Edgar talking. Edgar decides that he wants to speak to Marissa. And Marissa comes out, and Edgar says that he's grateful for her patience. And he said he wants to get to know Marissa better, and he wants to take things slow. And Marissa was so happy because she said she wants to do the same thing. And they decide that they are going to leave the island together. Next up is Lascelles and Ashley. They both were equally nervous about meeting and facing each other. They have been together for 7 years. And Lascelles, it's been quite clear that he is going to leave with Trace. Ashley is still hoping that their relationship can be saved. So Lascelles speaks first, and he tells her that he's cried a lot and he cares about her so much. And he said they were so wrapped up with being busy and leading their busy lives that he never really took a moment to acknowledge his feelings, acknowledge what he was going through. And he said Trace sort of helped him to grow, and she challenged him in ways that he's never challenged himself and that Ashley's never challenged him. Ashley tells Lascelles that she thought about him so much that she was not even enjoying the process. She was just consumed by thinking about him and watching those painful clips. She also tells Lascelles that she was deeply hurt because she had to watch him telling Trace that he loved her and forget about Ashley. And she said she didn't see any growth in those clips. And she said she didn't see that he loved himself. And I kind of get what she means, because it looked like he was willing to do anything to satisfy Trace. And Lascelles did tell Ashley that he did not mean to disrespect her. He did not mean to hurt her. And Ashley did apologize to Lascelles, because she says she didn't give him the space that he needed to be the man he needed to be. And she said that she was the primary focus in their relationship. And Ashley told Lascelles that she wanted to leave the island with him and work things out. And Lascelles tells Ashley that he's not leaving the island alone, and that what he has with Trace is really special. And once he said that, Ashley cut him off, and she said, "Mark, I want to change my mind. I want to leave the island by myself." And then Mark gives Lascelles an opportunity to finish what he was saying, and he tells Ashley that he wants to leave the island with Trace. And then you see Ashley, she leaves the island alone, and then they bring Trace in, and Trace is really beyond happy because she did not think that he was really going to choose her at the end, especially since he was with Ashley for 7 years. And then we have Hanya and Ashley. So we have Ashley, she's in the car, and she's saying that she's going to try her best not to be angry with him and hear him out. Hanya said he's terrified. He feels that his proposal will be too little too late. And he said he would do anything for Ash. So Ashley gave Hanya a look of disapproval. She's not happy with him, and she made it very clear. The way she was looking at him, I'm surprised he didn't try to go run and hide somewhere. So Ashley speaks first, and she says she's tired of being sorry or apologizing for who she is. She said she can be dark and intense sometimes, and she's not a person who needs to get her stuff together. She deserves a lot more than Hanya has been offering her, and she doesn't need to be with someone who makes her feel that she's slow or she's flawed or she's stupid. And she said she gave a lot and she didn't get anything in return, and she sat back and watched other women get more than she would get, and she just doesn't know how she can trust him. And Hanya speaks next. He tells Ashley that he usually has a lot to say, but this time he's sort of at a loss for words. But what he wants her to know is that he has recognized how much he loves her, and he admits that he was rude and disrespectful. And Hanya gets down on one knee and he proposes to Ashley. And he says that he will do everything in his power to be there for her. And she told him no, she couldn't. She needs to heal, and it's too much. And she said she knows that she's going to leave by herself. He told her not to be sorry, and they sort of hugged it out. And last but certainly not least, we have Iris and Luke. Luke explains to Iris about how much he's grown while he's been on Temptation Island, how he's starting to rediscover himself, and how he would like Iris to give him some credit for his efforts, because he feels like he's really been working hard to be a better man for her. And although Iris can attest that she feels that he has grown a lot based on what she saw in the clips, she also wants him to take accountability for his actions. And she also wants him to not make light of the things that he's done. He gets down on one knee and he proposes to Iris. And Iris is beyond happy. And she says yes. And they leave the island together. This season has been so scandalous and so interesting. And I must say, I enjoyed every last bit of it. The reunion will be my final coverage of this season of Temptation Island, and that is to come shortly. And that is my commentary. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time. Ta-ta.